And I'm the guest, 69416.
That's what I'm calling you for the rest of the show.
This is the Citadel Cafe.
This is the Citadel Cafe, episode number 82, recorded live on Wednesday. No, it's not September 18th. It is October 2nd. I forgot to change it in the notes. Damn it. My name is Joel Duggan. The chuckle you hear is Mr. Eric Mahler returning back of the Mr. Mom Daily podcast, as well as Buy a Pig in a Poke. Is that still going?
Yeah.
On the spot?
Yeah, sort of.
So it's still going.
It's on hiatus.
Ah.
It's a theme of the
Of the show.
So what's going on here?
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, the other voice that you hear is my friend Eric. Also is not his last name. His last name is Van Skyhawk. We're probably going to call him Skyhawk for the rest of the show, just so I don't get confused in my brain. Eric is a friend of the Frog Pants Network, of course, and a musician. And we are going to talk to him about his new album that was actually recommended back on show 80 by Ryan Murphy from The Gamers Inn when he was on the show. So that is going to be a whole lot of fun. If you happen to be new to the Citadel Cafe, this is where myself and a few guests come to talk about the things that we have been into lately. We gravitate towards geeky and sci-fi fantasy stuff, but we're not myopic. We cover everything from movies and television to books, apps, websites, and even some music. Imagine that. It's been a while. I'm actually excited to talk about some music. So before we get into anything else, I do want to talk to Eric about the new album, because I did just...
Do you mean Skyhawk?
Yes. See? Look, it's been 30 seconds and I'm already messing that up.
You dropped the ball already.
Yeah, it's because I know you both personally. It's not like it's just handles. Like, I've met and shook hands with both of you. So it's good. Eric 1 and Eric 2.
Ooh,
no,
can I be Eric too?
you can be Eric 2. You can be Eric also if you want as well.
And Eric also as well too.
Both. Exactly. Yes. So I recently picked up Skyhawk's new album,
Yes.
Shattered.
Did you download it okay?
I did, despite my ineptitudes with iTunes. I'm not sure whether it's something they changed in the new version or...
It is. Because usually I had the little download thing on the left.
Yeah.
You could see where stuff is downloading. Now they moved it to a small little thing up in the right-hand corner.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Yeah, so I had this conversation with Skyhawk yesterday where I was like, dude, your album's not downloading. This sucks. I paid for it and I'm excited and now I can't find it. And is there anything wrong on your end? Like, I was concerned.
Well, the thing is, I have nothing to do with it. That's
Right.
Like, I give it to TuneCore. Then TuneCore puts it out to all the places. And so
Right.
I have no control over that part of it. It's not like a podcast or anything like that.
Right. So I eventually did get it because I was working on my Cintiq, and this little tiny gray box in the very top right-hand corner, which on a 24-inch monitor is very far away from you. I finally did catch it, and I downloaded it. And I've listened to it a couple times actually. It's great stuff to listen to and work, which is something that I've been doing a lot of this week. So I mean, before we get too far into the show, Skyhawk, this is your third or fourth album?
It's my second.
Your second? Okay, I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought there was more. I think maybe iTunes was lying to me. Maybe there was singles or
I
something.
had some singles in there.
That's
which
what it is.
I don't count as albums.
Right. Okay, cool.
What? That one with that awesome cover of Scott Johnson when he was just a
Glamour shots.
Yeah, glamour shot. That one's great.
Just look up Skyhawk in the iTunes store, everybody, if you're curious about what we're talking about. The album, the latest one is called Shattered. I really like it. It's really, really fun stuff, and I'm definitely getting a video game vibe from it. Did you pull a lot of inspiration from that kind of stuff?
No, not really. It's just kind of like the type of music I listen to, I guess. I'm really into the EDM, electronic, electro, stuff genre, I guess. In the end, I just kind of make stuff that I like and what I listen to. So that's where I would say my influences come from. But it does tend to have a video game feel to it. I mean, when Scott heard the for their album for the first time. He's like, dude, why aren't you making, game music for video games already?
Hmm.
Because it has that definitely that vibe to it. But yeah, I just a lot of my influences are like Dead Mouse and Knife Party and Noisia and stuff like that. Which
Nice.
and Noisia did the soundtrack to Devil May Cry, the last Devil May Cry. So it does.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
Cool.
So along with Combi Christ. So
Awesome. I mean, like
that's just my influences, and it's funny because I have a whole bunch of different genres on there because I'm a big fan of DJ Shadow too, which kind of
Oh, I love DJ Shadow.
Into the Shadow is kind of like a little homage to his style of music and stuff like that. So
You know what?
I'm
I was totally thinking Shadow. I bought the album the day it came out. And, iTunes worked fine for me. I don't know what you.
oh, it was completely human error on my part.
Oh, okay.
The iTunes
Well,
it was a combination of really poor UI design and me not knowing what I was doing.
Well, no. My wife hates the new iTunes too. I'm sure it's not completely you, but no. I was listening to it in the car, and I was thinking to myself, this is gives me a DJ Shadow feel. I was
yeah,
really
well, that's
digging
hence the name Into the Shadows was
it. Sure.
this is a track that was heavily influenced. And in fact, I had to play. I was playing it in the car, and my girlfriend was like, "Is this DJ Shadow?" I was like, "No, it's me."
That's nice. That's nice. I would take
Yeah,
that as
well,
a compliment.
Yeah,
I mean, if
yeah.
it's something that you're shooting for, then obviously that's a great way to take that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, I try to arrange the track where it has the tracks where it has a nice flow into the different genres because, I didn't want you to get smacked with like an 8-bit theme right in the middle of the album, which
Sure.
is the Liam's theme for his podcast, All Work No Play,
Right.
Right.
which is the end song there.
Yeah, no, I remember catching that because I mean, once I started playing the album, of course, I switched over to do other things. I was taking care of some blog posts and artwork and stuff today, and I was just kind of listening through. And one thing that did grab me, there's a couple of tracks where you've got an artist by the name of Thix, I guess featured.
Yes.
Are those the vocals?
Yes, he's the vocals, and it's a crazy story. Because I've been a huge fan of his for like 5 years. He's based out of Vienna, Austria,
Oh, cool.
and I was working on the song Red, and I was like, you know what? If I could get his name is Stefan, and I was like, oh, if he would did this little vocal part, like the little speaking part, it would be because like originally it was me saying it, and it's just like I hate my voice, and it's like oh, it'd be really cool because it just kind of has his vibe to it,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and so I follow him on Twitter and whatnot, and I just sent him a little message, and I said, hey, I sent him an email. I went to his site and I sent him an email, say, hey, I'm so and so, and I'm working on an album, and I was wondering if you could do just a simple sentence for me and on the song, and he was like, yeah, sure, just send it over. So I sent the track to him, and just expecting him to just speak the one line, and he sent it back, and he goes like, yeah, I really like it. I really love the vibe of this. So I just sang over some of the song. So now you can use that if you want. If you don't if you don't like it, I was just like totally blown away, and I was like, dude, you've added so
Nice.
much to this. The song is Red. The first one you were hear him singing on it,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and then I was I was just blown away, and then so he started following me on Twitter, and we started like exchanging emails and whatnot, and then probably like 2 weeks before I released the album, I was getting all my tracks ready, and uh, just doing the final tweaks and mastering, and and he's been doing this for a long time, and he does all his own mastering and stuff like that. So I just sent him an email and said, hey, I just wondering if you could give it listen to my tracks and see what you think, and give me any pointers on the whole mixing and mastering of them type of thing. And he's like, sure, no problem. So I sent him all my tracks, and he sent me some notes on some of them and told me what what maybe take some high frequencies out here and add some more bass here, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
But then he says like he goes like I really like some of your tracks and I have some vocal ideas for some of them. And I'm like, okay, so that's where a lot like the track "Lost" came from.
And
Because I had it. It was
he
a
just wanted
completely
to, and
yeah, it was a completely instrumental song. They said so I sent him all the splits and all the different pieces of the track, and then he like and it's funny though because he's like we had a discussion. He's like he's from Austria, Vienna. So he's like so when I talk to him, he sounds just like Arnold Schwarzenegger, with that Austrian accent, which is fantastic. And uh, he's like he goes, well, what I'll do is I'll send you some vocal sketches over the track. But he does is he takes previous songs, like Frank Sinatra or Johnny Cash, and does the vocals with the song, but with the melody that he's thinking in his head. So the first version he sent to me was "I Walk the Line" from Johnny Cash over the Lost song, so, which is kind
nice.
of funny. So he's like, so he goes like, I'll do the vocal part, but you need to write the lyrics. And so I was like, okay, I've never written lyrics before. So
Yeah, I was
just,
wondering if you had done the lyrics or the melody of the vocals and just had him sing it or something, or
no, all I did is I wrote the vocals, and he's the one who created the melody of the vocals over the song. Cause the whole song, the bed of the whole track was from my original track that
hmm
had no vocals over it. And then he added some stuff, and like the end part was like his little audition, and it was just and it came together really well. I was completely blown away that just how it came together, and just it kept my mind was just boggled, just like as I have been a fan of his for like years. He has two groups. One's called Mind in a Box, and one's his new project is called Fix. And now here I am like working with him, and having Skype conversations with him and talking and
that's
and
so cool.
becoming friends and stuff like that. And it's just so weird how just like you never know if you just have to put your
Keep
stuff
doing.
out there and just ask like hey could you do this for me, like because you never know what happens, and the worst thing that can happen is like they say no, I don't have time, or no response, but like that's okay, but at least you have to try.
Yeah.
I think that's wise for just about any creative endeavor out there. That's a smart way to do things. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's very cool. I mean, it's funny how the internet has made, a lot of people really accessible, and social media in particular, makes the people that you look up to, the mentors, the examples that you're trying to, set your creativity by, a lot more down to earth and approachable. I mean, not only do you have access where you can tweet at them and hope they see it, or email them if they have a public email that you can, get in touch with somebody, but you also, personally, I've found, have a little bit more confidence in doing so. Like I would never ever think, growing up to like write a letter to a movie star like Tom Hanks, but I'll tweet Nathan Fillion in a heartbeat. Like it
That's
just,
true.
Exactly.
it's a big difference now. And I mean, a good example is my interview on Comics Coast to Coast with Dave Kellett of Sheldon. I mean, like I was getting ready to get into webcomics. I bought the book that he wrote with four of his friends about webcomics, something that he's been doing for 15 years now, I think, very
Hmm.
successfully. It's his full-time job, and it starts off with like a fan letter or a thank you for your inspiration sort of thing. And then 2 years later, 3 years later, I'm doing a show with Dunaway, and I'm just like, I wonder if Kellett would agree to come on an interview. Like we've sort of had a couple tweets back and forth. Like, I know he's the kind of guy that reads his email, even if he doesn't always have time to reply, that kind of thing. I emailed him and he came on the show. He had a great time. Like it was surreal,
Yeah,
to be able
exactly.
to sit there and talk with him. And it's intimidating for like 30 seconds. And then after that, you realize just how down to earth they are. I mean, it helps that Dave has been on podcasts himself quite a bit too. So I mean, you kind of get to know him, and you know that he's a humble guy, and he's always trying to get better and all that kind of stuff. So, did you find like, how did you find working with Thix? Like, did you find that he was like not was he working with you? Like, did you find that there was a real collaboration there, or did you find that you
Yeah,
were following
definitely.
his
Like,
lead
I
more?
mean, no, yeah, it definitely was very collaborative.
That's
Like,
awesome.
so, I mean, pretty much took my song and, and added to it, and then we'd go back and forth. And I said, well, I'm not so, it's funny because like we'd go back and forth because he was, oh, I don't like this part, and I said, this part's so great. How can you not like that part? That's the best part. Blah blah. And it was a very back and forth until we finally agreed on a direction but it was very collaborative project. And I said, and I'd send him some synth parts, and back and forth. And so yeah,
Wow.
it's very collaborative. He says he's also in the future. He goes, you have anything else you want to send me? Just if you need some vocals, and
That's
more
awesome.
which is fantastic. So,
Absolutely.
but
Congratulations.
I haven't
That's
like
wicked.
touched music for like since I released it. I'm done for a while. I'm
Yeah.
You need a break.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like it's like when I put my book out last year. I needed a break. I got back into drawing the strip, but like with the actual book, like I mean, I didn't want to put anything together. I didn't want to do any layout. I didn't want to do any,
Exactly.
all the graphic design stuff. I was like, nope, done. I just want to draw cartoons. I've spent like a month just laying stuff out. I need to get back to it.
And the funny thing is like most of the tracks people seem to be responding to are like the newer tracks that I probably did in the last couple of months, more than because there's been some songs I've been like hanging around for quite a while, but
Yeah.
the people seem to be like really responding to the new stuff that they don't know how long they've been around, but so that was good to hear, because I was like, because like when there's a new piece of music, I'm like, I don't know if I should put this on there, but it's because you're. So I'm glad I made the decision to put some of this stuff on there.
Yeah. I feel like when I was listening to it, right in the middle, like Singularity, Lost, Send It Through, and Into the Shadows is kind of when I want to say perk up the most. I mean, I enjoyed the whole thing, but I feel like that was when I was flipping back and forth and saying, "Oh, what song's this? Ooh, what song's this? This I'm going to put a couple of stars next to this one so I can come back and talk about it later." And yeah, like you can definitely. Were those the later ones, or were the more recent ones at the front?
Well, Lost was a probably the latest track.
Mm.
It definitely evolved. Well, I mean, I did the original Lost track like a long time ago, but it's evolved so much. I would call it new at this point. But yeah, Singularity, end of the data, whatever how you want to say it, is one of the newer ones. And people seem to really be liking that one also.
I say Dorda if you don't.
Dorda.
End of the Dorda. Yeah.
Into the Shadows is a new one. And actually, Send It Through is a new one also. So
And
yeah.
Into the Shadows is the one that was inspired by another DJ that you really like, right?
DJ Shadow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll have to look him up because I've never heard
Oh
of him.
yes.
He's really good.
It's funny because I'm really quite new to this type of stuff. I mean, I like it when I hear it in movies and in television and media and stuff like that. But I've never gone out of my way to really kind of look it up before. And I think the most recent one that I picked up was the Daft Punk album that came out.
Yeah, that's more of a disco.
It is, and I was not expecting that because I really liked their soundtrack to Tron.
Yeah,
And-
it's not.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, so it's not like I dislike the latest disco type stuff from Daft Punk, but
no, it's fine.
Yeah.
It has its place, and
yeah, I remember making fun
that
of one
was
song. though.
I kind of try to do the glamour shots in that kind of
Right.
disco
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, I was trying to. I remember I was listening to the album for the first time, and just a few days earlier, I had gone to the movies with Jocelyn, and there was one of their songs, "Time to Get Lucky," I think it's called, or something like that, and it was playing in the movie theater, and I was like, "Oh my god! Like this is the most repetitive song ever." And I had thought it was like whoever the latest Justin Bieber pop nut was that was
Justin Bieber.
putting out this stuff, and of course, and I made fun of it, and we both kind of rolled our eyes in the movie theater, and I go home and I get the album and I realize, oh crap. It's actually
Well,
a band I
you gotta
like.
figure it's like it's not them singing it. It's like Pharrell, right?
Yeah, no, I know, but still, I was surprised
It's
that it was produced
yeah.
by
The
them.
thing is, the thing about Daft Punk, they can be very repetitive in their music.
They can be,
That's true.
yeah, they
Oh
can be
yeah. If you
repetitive.
listen to that one with Robo Rock on it, Robot Rock, I mean that song is really repetitive. It's good,
They,
but it's very repetitive.
Yeah,
I think they know their stuff's gonna get played a lot in clubs and dance clubs where really the main motivation is just to keep people moving and to let it flow into the next song and stuff. So it doesn't surprise me too much. I mean, it's nothing against the band. I like Daft Punk quite a bit, but that's kind of I think where their motivation for that is.
yeah.
Eric, I was curious. Sorry, I'm kind of backtracking a little bit. What do you use to, if you don't mind me asking, what do you use to make your songs? Like what software? Like,
Um, well, I use a variety of software. My whole like the history of where like my music career goes from like in high school I played drums for like over 10 years and I was in like a whole
mhm,
bunch of rock bands and whatnot.
right.
Um, but then when I get older and you're living in apartments, you don't have room for a drum set. So I got really like phew, probably like 12 years ago, I was really got interested in producing my own music just in my bedroom. So I picked up a piece of software. It was called Reason.
Oh yeah, Reason.
Reason's still around, but I was using it Reason 1.0. Now it's like Reason 7.0 right now.
Right.
But that had everything to create, music right there in one simple, program. As time progressed, I kind of started getting into I had a Pro Tools, used Pro Tools for a while.
Hmm.
But then they kind of screwed me over because they're a horrible company. Because I bought their audio interface and then they stopped supporting the audio interface and I wasn't
Right. I had a
eligible.
friend who's a
Was
music producer who I remember complaining about Pro Tools, and I think he said something about that.
Yeah, that
Uh,
like you drop support for your audio device and then you're not eligible to upgrade to their more recent software and it's like I'm not dropping $600. I already invested in their software and now they're just kind of telling
and
me to
it's
just jump off a
that's
cliff. And I was like, I'm done with you, Pro Tools. So
sure.
I started using Ableton Live. I don't know if you've
Oh,
heard of.
oh, right. I love live.
Yeah, so the majority of my stuff is done in Live with a whole bunch of software synth, plugins.
Hmm.
Like I have the complete from Native Instrument set of plugins. I also use a lot of the Waves plugins for like compressors and EQs
Sure.
and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just a whole bunch of mishmash of different things. Like half the stuff is done in Reason and half the stuff is done in Ableton. And some of the stuff I do in Reason and then pull it into Live and just what makes it the song work.
That's cool. Thanks. I was just curious. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and no, it's yeah, it's fun little hobby that I do, and it's kind of like it's nice to do something different than when you do in your day job. As I'm an art director, doing
Right.
visual stuff, and just to come home and just change the gears and do something different.
Yeah, I find that, and I've mentioned that about podcasting too, is because it allows me to still do some creative things that are not at all related to comics and illustration. Like I feel like creative people like us always seem to have that creative hobby in addition to whatever we're doing professionally. And I mean, I used to be in a band in university. It was just a cover band. I played bass guitar, but
You're a bass guitar player. Look
yeah,
at you.
yeah. No, it's a long time ago. We covered the oddest things. We covered the Beatles, um, Green Day, and there was one other band.
This is an
God,
odd mix.
Paranoid Android. Who are they?
Radiohead.
Radiohead. So we covered some. Yeah, it was a strange mix of that kind of stuff, just for fun. But I've always had some sort of like audio component to the creative endeavors outside of like at that time it would have been school would have been visual arts. So to hang out with the guys on the weekend and mess around, and coffee houses and stuff like that was super fun. So, but that's cool, man. I can't believe I didn't realize you were always musical. I thought it was something that you came to later. I didn't realize that you'd played drums for so long.
Yeah, in high school, it was like I was so into music, and I just like, I mean, my room was just full of my friends' amps and
I remember
guitars, and they
those
just
days.
leave
Yeah.
it in my room. Uh, and I got to the point where like, you know what, I gotta kind of do something that I can make a living at, like, because is a tough, tough gig to make a decent living out of. So
Yeah.
I went into like advertising. So and that's where I landed,
Nice.
which is great. It's a very creative field, and you get to experience a lot of different creative mediums to TV, print, interactive.
Yeah, these
you know,
days it would
actually,
be very,
yeah.
very broad in terms of the palette of stuff that you could do.
And yeah, so, but I still, I've always loved music, and it's a really fun hobby that I've always kept up with, and I don't know, it's kind of like I have a little sickness of, because I guess as being a tech gadget kind of guy, I just kind of like I just like love the technology side of it too. Like a new
Mm-hmm.
synth or a new effect comes out, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited, and I gotta check it out and read all the specs on it, and like I and in the notes I made a joke how I said print is dead because I don't do too much book reading, but I read more stuff like Computer Music Magazine on my iPad type of thing, and reading up and reviews on new synths and effects and new hardware devices and that kind of stuff.
Right on.
That's
But
cool.
I
It's
do
funny.
have one else other thing that kind of falls into the whole like you never know unless you try type of thing is as this has just recently happened like a couple of weeks ago. Is if you guys are familiar with Hit Record.
Mm-hmm. It's a what's his butts? The 500 days of something's deal, right?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Thank you.
Yes. Anyway, he has a site called hitrecord.org, which is a collaborative production company where he's making a TV show. What it is he has all these little short films, musical pieces, and he's gonna have a TV show that launches in January. Anyway, I went on the site and checked it out and whatnot, and then I saw this little piece where he was asking for these little pieces of music for this short film they're working on, and so they wanted a little kind of electronica theme for a character for these characters which are engineers. So and I mean, what the people do is they submit their work and then they pick it and for the piece. So actually, I submitted a piece, my first piece. I signed up, I submitted it, and they actually chose it for the TV show.
Nice.
That's
So-
awesome.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So it's kind of crazy just because it's my first time, and then like there's tons of people submitting stuff, and you can see, you can listen to other people's stuff because it's very collaborative, it's very open source type of environment type of thing, and and you can see how many people have listened to it, how many people have recommended it, and it's just kind of like I was looking at my piece and like mine had like more recommendations than anybody else's piece, and even Joseph Gordon-Levitt recommended my piece, and
Wow.
now then I got an email from them saying, "Hey, we really like your track," and then they sent some further conversation and said, "Joe really likes the track, and we're going to move forward with this and blah blah. You're going to see it on TV in January." And I'm just like, "Wow, it's kind of."
That is so cool. Congratulations.
Very,
man.
very
And the
cool.
thing is you get paid for it too.
Oh, no kidding?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Well, that's good. It's
The
nice
whole
that he's
thing-
doing that. Yeah.
The whole thing for him is like, come work for me. That's the the gist of the site, and for you guys, there's like illustration sections, and it's like send us some awesome illustrations and for the
Nice.
story we're working on, and and people animate those illustrations, or it's a very cool site. You should guys check it out. If
Yeah. What was the site again?
Hitrecord.org.
see.
Great. I wanted to write it down for my own notes and obviously for the show notes too, so that everybody can make sure that they get there. That
And
sounds awesome.
So yeah, and it's like it's kind of crazy. Like I figured, well, why not? Why not try? Submit something, and lo and behold, I got a I got a piece that got into the show, and it's weird because I get emails from the music guy who's in charge of all the music for all the projects, and he's like, yeah, Joe. He calls him Joe. Really likes your stuff. He says it's great and stuff. And says the tracks are perfect. And, and I'm just
That's
kind of
so cool, man.
Wow.
Right.
That's got to feel good. That's
Absolutely.
really cool.
Well, and Levitt is another really creative son of a gun. That you see.
The cool thing about this site is he every day he posts a little YouTube video and tells you where each project is at and how many days are till the delivery of the TV show is and saying exactly stuff that they need and like, oh, we need, like for say if you're an illustrator site, like, oh, we're working on a short film, we need these illustrations of, a list of stuff, and so, and the thing is when you submit your work there, it's like, it's so collaborative that anybody can remix it or redo something, you know what I'm saying? But you always get credit for that part.
Right.
Because it's, in your account where it's posted and
very cool.
It's a very cool little site. You should check it out.
Absolutely. I'm going to go there right after the show. Right after the show.
I'm saying, and it's like they're looking for voiceover artists, musicians, singers. I mean, Eric, your sister, Heather.
Yeah, Heather. She can draw like nothing else.
I know, like her stuff would fit perfectly in a lot of the stuff that they're doing over there.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
I should show her this. Totally.
So,
well, speaking of television and stuff, I mean, what have you guys been watching? I mean, Eric, Mahler. Let's start with you, man. Like, what's been gracing the large or small silver screen in your world?
Well, when I can pull the TV away from my daughter, and I don't have to watch Backyardigans or something.
Bubble Guppies, man. It's all about Bubble Guppies.
I don't know what that is, but I imagine it's a kid's show.
It's a kid's show.
It's a kid's show, and it's much better than Backyardigans.
Somehow I've avoided that one. Okay. Anywho, my wife and I have, I've tried to get her into Doctor Who before, and I started her with the Christopher Eccleston series, the first season when they came back in the 90s, and she wasn't really feeling it, and I can understand that's kind of my least favorite Doctor of the new ones. I don't know if you guys watched any Doctor Who, but
I am behind. I have not seen any Doctor Who since the 70s.
Yes, I am with Joel. Believe it or not, there's so much TV to watch, and
there's too much.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we started watching Doctor Who again, and she's kind of into it this time because we started on the next season after, where there's a new Doctor. Not Christopher Eccleston. I'm gonna lose nerd points. I just had his name in my head. It doesn't matter.
Hey, when you're talking to two guys who haven't watched it, I don't think you have to worry about.
Yeah.
Good point. But anyway, we've been watching that, and when we're not watching that, we're rewatching X-Files from the beginning, just for fun because it's on Netflix, and why not? And that's about it. Oh, and I finally got to see the new Star Trek movie.
Oh yeah, this is the Into Darkness.
Yeah, because it came out really close to when my son was born, so it was kind of I can't really take an infant baby to the theater.
No, and that was loud.
Yes, you don't want to be one of those guys.
No.
I told my wife, she's like, nah, he'll sleep through it, and I'm like, no, I refuse to be that person. I'm not gonna be that guy.
Yeah, they actually have, at least in theaters around here, during the week matinees. They have family friendly matinees for kids movies, and even some some dramas where like you might be taking a baby that's so young they wouldn't even really register what's going on screen.
Right.
So for moms that want to get together or stay-at-home dads that want to get together and go see a movie, the lights don't go all the way down and they don't have the sound as loud. And
that's great.
Yeah, and it's just kind of understood that if your baby is crying, that's just going to happen at these things. If you've got to get up and take the baby to the change room and walk in front of some people, well, that's going to happen a lot too. So
There's got to be a place like that around here. I mean,
I'm
it's
sure.
Utah.
Yeah.
It's Utah. Yeah, I don't. There has to be
There's
something.
babies everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure if you looked at your local theaters, it's probably just not marketed very well.
Yeah, it's
You
the
know? If not, you could probably start one. I mean, I'm assuming it's probably just a matter of. I mean, I know it's Empire Theaters here that does it. That's the company, which is I think local to like Atlantic Canada. But I mean, it could have easily started with
I know
just
we
a
have
group
a-
of people, like saying, "Hey, look, if we all got together and made sure we had 20 or 30 tickets to sell to your movie in the afternoon when no one's going to go on a Tuesday afternoon anyway, like, would we be able to get a special screening that's better for new moms, or
Right.
or new parents?"
right. I'm sure there's something. I just haven't found it. I know there's a Brew Cinema, Brewvies
Ooh.
nearby.
I've heard that's fun.
It's great. It's the best.
What is
Only way to
Broovies?
Brewvies. It's just here downtown, and it's a movie theater. And you can also get a pint of beer and some French fries with cheese and a slice of pizza, all in there in the theater. And you're just watching a movie.
Please,
and-
I got you beat.
What?
AMC has these dine-in theaters, like fully reclined chairs, where the waiters come to your side and you
No
give them
way.
your order, and it's like full menu, like burgers, wraps, chicken
Ah.
entrees,
my
desserts,
God.
That sounds awesome.
and they have like adult where they serve full-on alcohol, where children, you have to be 21 to go into the
Sure.
theater.
Wow.
That is great. That sounds like a much nicer version of what we got here.
Jeez.
Yeah, but these chairs are like electric recline, so you could actually recline all the way back.
Now
Oh
that
my
would be worth it because movie theaters seats always suck.
And
That
these
sounds
tickets
awesome.
cost what? $100 a piece?
No, it's
no.
not. Well, the thing is, they're regular price tickets for a movie, but you're
So-
paying for the meal, So,
Yeah. So, well, just out of curiosity, what's a movie ticket where you are, Eric?
it's about $12.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
It's about the
Yeah.
same here.
I think 3D it goes a little higher when you're
Yep.
watching 3D.
Yeah, we've got a cheap night here. I say cheap night, and it's like, I want to say it's like $8 or $10 on Tuesdays, and it's the matinee price, but they let it go the whole day, into the
yeah,
evening.
yeah.
So on Tuesday nights you can go see
Eric,
a
do
movie.
you remember Starship Theaters?
Vaguely, yeah.
But
That rings a bell.
You're probably like a lot younger than I am, but when I was growing up,
I'm
we had
32.
Dude, I'm 43, so.
All right, well, it's only 11 years. It's not big. That's not too much.
But they had Starship Theaters. Scott would totally know what this is, where it was like their movies were $1. I mean, it was like
Wow.
But the movies they had were like out of the theaters a couple months, type of thing.
Right.
But it was the cheap place to go see a movie.
Yeah,
For sure.
when I was a kid, it was, I think the cheap night was $4 or $5 for me. I mean, and I'm 34. But then at university, I went to University in a small town, and they had Toonie movies on Friday nights, and it was the same idea. It was a single screen movie theater, but the place would be packed because there was nothing to do on a Friday night in a small town but go see a movie at midnight. And for $2, I mean, like you would see something fairly recent. It would be out, 3 or 4 weeks, and then it would come for the Toonie movie. And I mean, it was great. I mean,
We
the
have
place
a-
would be just wall to wall students.
We have a place like that here. We call it the Dollar Theater, but they don't charge for $1 anymore. It's in Sugar House. But what it's mostly become is where homeless people go to be warm for a while in the winter. They pay a few bucks and they go watch a movie and they warm themselves up.
Well, this is. I realized I was talking about toonies. It's like, for those of you who don't know, that's the $2 coin in Canada.
Yeah. Oh,
With
okay.
holes in it, right?
Holes in it,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So
When it
Scott
first came
Johnson
out,
tells me.
you could have holes in it. So, well, some of our money is clear now. Like it's
Oh,
translucent.
really?
Yeah.
Really?
The new bills are plastic. They've got
Oh, the bills. I thought you were talking about the coins.
no,
Oh.
no. Look, the coinage is a problem. I mean, I took every once in a while, every couple of years, you just realize, man, I've got so much change around the house. Like I just have to get rid of it. So, you go to the dollar store, you pick up a couple of those plastic rollers, and you just, every once in a while when you walk by the dresser, you throw a roll of dimes or nickels or something together, and you just, eventually you've got a sock drawer full of this stuff that you got to lug to the bank. Well, I went to the bank yesterday, and I dropped off $97 in change
Nice.
into my bank account. I mean, it's been years, but I mean, like, it just accumulates, and it never leaves the house.
Well, that's a nice bonus right there. Right?
Absolutely. It's a nice bonus. It's
Like,
pizza
Jocelyn,
and
we're
beer
going
money.
out for dinner.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what I told her. But yeah, it's a problem with like both $1 and $2 pieces being coins, because I mean, like,
I never use cash anymore.
no, well, no, that's
debit
true
card.
too.
Debit card. Although, like my girlfriend always asks me, why don't you ever have cash? Because I just hate change.
Yeah, no, and it's getting that way around here too. I use my debit card for just about everything. But
I was like, I hate to apologize. I'm gonna be spending $1.50 on my debit card, but I just don't have any cash on.
yeah, well, and a lot of places that I would spend something as little as $1.50 are places like Starbucks or Tim Hortons, or places that you can have like club cards or apps on your phone, with the Passbook app on the iPhone, and you don't even have to pay anything. You just wipe, flash it in front of the scanner, and away you go.
That is awesome.
Absolutely. Well, Skyhawk, what about you? What's been gracing your television lately?
I just been watching the new series. I'm really digging the new Avengers Shields TV series.
Cool. I don't have cable, but I'm gonna find a way to look to view it eventually.
And I'm also loving the Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It's very funny.
Oh, and so what's this about?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a new sitcom with Andy Samberg.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I like him.
He plays a cop in Brooklyn, and it's very well written. It's not cheesy. It's really good. I was because I was a little apprehensive and I just could go either way, but it's really well done, and I'm really enjoying it. Just come on, the season finale of Breaking Bad. Got to give it up for that.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
I haven't seen that yet at all. I mean, I think I might even be on season 4. I don't know. I lost interest a little while ago, and I never got back into it. It's available on Netflix now, so I mean, Jocelyn and I will eventually go through it. We started watching The Walking Dead again. So
Okay.
I mean, because that's again, it's available on Netflix. Just today, actually, Netflix came out with all kinds of new stuff in Canada. Like, I see Bill Meeks is in the chat room here, and Once Upon a Time is now on Netflix here in Canada. So I'm looking forward to catching up on that, because Bill does Greetings from Storybrooke, which is a podcast about the show. And I've not really been able to listen to it, because outside of the first episode or two, I've never seen much of Once Upon a Time. So now I can catch up and hopefully catch up on his podcast as well, because it seemed like an interesting show, and anybody that, I like that kind of fantasy. Like I found that a lot of the TV that we've had access to lately via Netflix has been like, cop dramas or lawyer dramas, or like, it's just, I want a good solid fantasy TV show, something that's really out there. So S.H.I.E.L.D. should be good when I get a chance to check that out. And same with Walking Dead. I mean, it's definitely out there. I have to be in the right mood to watch The Walking Dead.
The thing about The Walking Dead is it can be slow sometimes.
It really can be. Yeah, that's why we stopped. We only watched. We thought that we were just last week on the show. I said, I'm pretty sure that I'm a few episodes into The Walking Dead. Well, Jocelyn queued it up the other night, and she read the descriptions of a couple of the episodes, and we realized we had only seen the first episode of season 3. That's how long it felt.
Wow.
Like how draggy it felt. And we're like, no, we've seen like 3 or 4 of these for sure. Nope, we'd only seen the first one. So we watched
more scenes of everyone
standing
around,
have you read
looking concerned.
Oh, sorry. Have you read the comic book?
I've read the first couple. I am now farther in the show at the jail than I got in the comic. So, and I know I've heard that the show drags on, and I've also heard that the show does pick up. Like there's a little bit of a lull.
Well, the thing is
season 3.
it moves so fast in the comic book compared to the TV show. It's just that's what kind of drives me nuts.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of people staring at one another, wondering whether they're going to shoot each other in the face. It's just like, oh God, just get on with it. Just get on with it. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's been hard pressed for me lately to pick up some.
But you got to keep it going with Breaking Bad. It's good.
Yeah, I do like it.
A little trivia. I did the Grand Via logo at the end of each episode.
You
Very
did that?
cool.
Yeah,
No kidding.
no kidding.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so what happened was is old coworker's brother is what's his name? I'm having a brain fart. Michael Johnson, I want to say his name is. He's an executive producer on it, and
Okay.
and he's like, my brother's starting his own production company, and he needs a logo, and I think you're a great art director. I wonder if you could work on it. And I was like, sure. And then lo and behold, I was like watching Breaking Bad, and there was my logo at the end. I was like, oh, holy crap, there it is.
Nice. So
That's
he
gotta
didn't
be
tell you
so
it was for Breaking
strange.
Bad?
No, well, this was years before Breaking Bad went on the air, type of thing.
Oh,
He was just using, that was his production, because he does a whole bunch of, like, he produced all the Narnia movies and stuff like that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So,
That's cool.
That's right. Jeez, man. You're all over the place.
oh yeah, I got my hands in everything.
Jeez, Skyhawk is connected.
That's right.
Very cool. Well, one thing that I did catch on Netflix that I really quite enjoyed was an old documentary, and I've been meaning to watch more docs on Netflix, and it was called Comic Book Confidential. And
Turning into Scott Johnson or something.
no, because I have to be in the right mood.
He's Mr. Doc on freaking Netflix.
Is he?
That's true.
Oh yeah, oh my gosh, that's all he watches. Watching another Ken Burns.
Oh,
There's
I
more
have,
Ken
I have,
Burns.
I have heard that. Yeah, I've heard him mention that. But this one was a film from the 80s, 88 to be specific. And it was about, at the time, the current feel and direction of comics and comic books, mainly in the US. And there's some really interesting information and some very dated conversations with some creators. And I don't mean dated necessarily in a bad way. I mean, there's a really cool conversation with Will Eisner and Stan Lee as they talk about their comics, their projects, Marvel and some of the other things that they'd like to do, the Spirit, that kind of stuff, and where they were seeing their work heading. There is a comic historian that was talking about how everybody was hating on the comics, on specifically horror comics and stuff in the 50s and 60s, thinking that it was going to turn their kids into serial killers and all this kind of stuff. But one of the most interesting and smug conversations that was caught on film was the conversation with Frank Miller. And he was in the middle of working on The Dark Knight Returns. I mean, like, I knew that he's done some stuff. I mean, like, he really does not come across as a likable guy in this
I know
documentary.
He's got a reputation, right?
Wow,
After being-
I didn't know. Is he hard to work with? Is that the rep?
Yeah, I've heard he's very. I've heard he's very. I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but I heard he is very hard to work with. But it kind of. I think he has a kind of a right to be kind of.
I'm not saying that the work is not good, but just to hear him talk about it, it sounds like he's God's gift to green earth, and everybody else, Stan Lee, and Will Eisner. I mean, they're all very important people in comics, but they're all just so humble about, like, I just want to draw pictures. I'm here to tell stories, and
yeah, but you gotta look at like how his stories are just so dark and disturbing, and maybe that comes from part of his personality. I don't know.
I guess. But there's another guy that they interviewed, and his name is escaping me right now, but he was the real artsy guy. I mean, they were talking about like underground comics and a lot of content that does not appeal to me. I mean, to each their own. But this guy was going on and on about, the man and how he was being sued and got a cease and desist from Disney because, he was using their characters in parody and they shouldn't have done that, and they throw their money around and they get whatever they want. And he had drawn Mickey and Minnie having sex in a jail cell quite graphically. And I'm just like, dude, what did you expect? Like this, and this isn't even like really early on when Disney was just started. I mean, like this was in probably somewhere in the 80s, which was, I mean, Disney was swinging a big hammer. Like, what? It was so just pretentious and out there to hear this guy talk about it like it was this worst censorship ever. It's like, dude, you took somebody else's property and you're trying to make money with it. in a way that does not flatter or it even damages their IP. Like, of course they're going to come down on you. Like, it was just ridiculous. I mean, and you get to see the other side of it too. I mean, there was a little bit about one of the guys at Mad, and they were doing a lot of really edgy work as well, but they were doing it the way that I want to say that you should, but they were doing it in a way that was really within the legal rights of parody and all that kind of stuff. So it's a really interesting doc. It's a bit dated, being filmed and put together in '88, and I can't say it's well put together. The content is good, but it's a weird kind of presentation to kind of wrap your head around. But I would definitely recommend it. Comic Book Confidential on Netflix. The one thing that was a little bit sad at the end when they were talking with Stan Lee is that, I mean, this is 25 years ago, and he looked kind of old then, articulate, but getting up there, and it makes you kind of think about how old he is now. Like, it's unfortunate to think about there's a lot of really important people in comics that might not be around for very much longer. And it just kind of reminded me of that for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, that's my big recommendation from Netflix this week. But
awesome. Did you get the new Orange? Orange is the New Black?
I haven't seen it yet, but Jocelyn has seen the whole season. She really
Did you watch that, Eric?
Oh, I thought it was great.
Me too. Yeah, I loved it.
That was fantastic. I watched House of Cards also there on Netflix. Kind of lost me at the end there.
I thought, it was kind of anticlimactic, right?
Yeah, it started off with a head of steam, and it did kind of lose it near the end, I feel.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't know.
Let's go jogging. Woo! That's the end of the show.
Oh, yeah, I know. And it's just like, and I told you what the opening scene of next series, and then the next season is, right?
No.
They get hit by a car because they go jogging in all black jogging suits there.
Wait, how would you know? Wait, is there?
No, it's a joke.
Okay, I was gonna say, hang on.
They go running. They're wearing all black. It's nighttime, and it's
I'm
like,
so gullible.
what are you doing?
That's a good point.
You do not go jogging in all black at night.
No, that is not smart. That is foolish.
I know it looks good, but that's like, as a runner, I do not go jogging at night wearing
Kaboom.
black. Boom. Yeah. So anyway.
I can't believe I believed you for 2 seconds. I'm an idiot. Never mind. Moving on.
I was just sitting here watching that car crash happen. That was actually pretty cool.
He does know some producers in Hollywood.
I was like, well, yeah, he seems like he's in the business or something.
I found the name. His name is Mark Johnson, not Michael Johnson.
Okay.
Way to go, Eric. Yeah. Skyhawk's dropping names on the podcast, and he's getting them wrong. Jeez.
Yeah, I know. Also, you guys been catching Legend of Korra at all?
Yes. Yeah, big fan.
The way in which you guys are lacking in Doctor Who, I am lacking in all of that side of things. The Legend of Korra, that whole thing.
Did you see the Last Airbender, like the first 3 seasons? No, dude.
See, I know.
So
yeah,
good.
I mean, it's very good. It's very, very good television.
Your Doctor Who is my Airbender.
Avatar. Yeah.
But do not go see the movie.
I won't.
No,
it
I've been cautioned against it.
Piece of crap that I cannot believe how bad it is. It was the first movie I actually thought about walking out.
Wow.
It was so bad.
Yeah, it takes a lot for me to get to walk out of a movie. I've done it at least once, and I'm trying to remember the last time I did it in the theaters.
But he took such a great IP and just like, I don't know. It's like,
do you think if it wasn't so beloved, like if it was taken out of the context of something that was really admired and had a really, really loved series behind it, do you think it would be less offensive than it, like, because it's tainting this this beautiful thing that you guys all love?
No, because like movies have been made successfully out of, like look at the, like, what the Batman movies have become,
Sure.
Yeah, they did a great job. I mean, like, Lord knows in the 80s they did some horrible or early 90s Batman stuff with, Mr. Freeze and Jim Carrey, and
Batman nipples. What are you talking about? That's great. It's good stuff.
I think if it's well done, people will will give it its props if it's well. But the acting was horrible. It was just like when you have the guy from Daily Show. Oh my God, Asif.
Asif Manvi.
Yes, he's the best actor out of the whole movie.
Really?
You know.
Wow.
Yeah. He nailed it. Everybody else was horrible.
Huh.
You guys never saw the movie, I take it.
No. I avoided it. Well, because I was such a big fan of the show, and I knew that it was a real stinker after it came out. Like I didn't get to see it right away, so I had lots of people, mostly animators, visual storytellers, telling me like, just stay away, don't pretend it doesn't exist, and live on, live long and prosper, and not seeing M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar problem. Yeah. What was the actual title of the movie? Was it called The Last Airbender?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I'd imagine they would have had some issues because it was out long time before.
It was a Nickelodeon movie.
Yeah, but it was out before Avatar. Like
I know my
James
daughter's...
Cameron's Avatar.
Oh yeah, it was out before that Avatar you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think once you have like The Last Airbender, I don't think you're going to run into any, copyright issues.
Yeah.
Because James Cameron's was just Avatar, right?
Yeah. It was just Avatar.
So I think this title was Avatar: The Last Airbender. I saw it.
My only redeeming part of not having seen any of that is that I know that I've kind of watched my daughter watch a bunch of them, and she seemed to really enjoy them. But I just didn't really pay attention because I was busy with doing other things and happy that she was occupied so I could do things at the moment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The first season of The Last Airbender is a little on the kiddie side, but it quickly moves into a more contemporary story. What I liked so much about it is that they don't talk down to you or kids in the writing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't beat you over the head with stuff. They actually, have a mature way of telling the story, and it becomes a more of an arc of a story from beginning of the season to end. Like there's always like a episodic plot, but there's still a huge mystery that's happening over the course of the whole season, which makes the whole thing very compelling.
Yeah, and it comes together well, and and just the end, it's highly recommended.
I'll have to watch it.
Absolutely. You don't have homework.
Okay.
Yes. Speaking of kids, I saw Probably Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball 2
Oh, how is that?
with the kids in the dine-in theater.
Really? You
Yeah.
lucky dog.
Is
How
that as
was
good
it?
as the first one?
I want to see it.
It actually is good, and what I think is very funny is the main character, one of the main characters. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but is modeled after a little bit of Steve Jobs. I'd have to say.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. I don't
Have you
remember
heard about this?
I don't remember the name of the character
No.
either, but there was a nod to Steve Jobs in the movie.
Yes.
Right on. I liked the first one a lot. I thought
It's a decent sequel, definitely, for sure.
I feel like movies like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. I mean, the original, I really enjoyed it, and what I like so much about it is that they cross the line. They don't pretend to not be a movie. Like it's a slapstick Saturday morning cartoon that happens to be 90 minutes long.
right.
And has the budget for feature quality animation. It's silly stuff, and it's not the kind of thing that you would expect when you go to see Brave, or Wall-E from Pixar. But it's its own little world, and I really like that.
It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah, precisely. So, and that just opened up like this weekend, didn't it?
Yes. Yes.
I
didn't even know that was out yet.
How well did it do? Do you know if it did really well? It was like 30, 40 million, something
I
like
think
that?
it did okay. I don't really follow the movie profits that closely, but I think it did okay.
You're not in the movie draft with all those silly guys?
I am not in the NSFW whatever.
That's
movie
fun to
cast.
watch.
Yeah,
the only
I
time I know
participated.
Scott
what's
got his
making
butt
money.
kicked last. Is it over yet? Or, I know Scott's like
Yeah, I participated last year, not like financially, but just like out of just in the chat room. Like I wasn't in the actual draft, but I
Right.
competed in the chat room draft, and that was fun. Yeah, it was really good.
It is fun to follow those guys and watch them kind of fall over each other and freak out or kind of trash talk each other as they win and lose.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah, absolutely.
I think it's rigged. I think Brian has some kind of rigging system or
yeah,
something.
Brushwood's it's the whole thing is fixed. He's got something going on there.
Too funny. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the show. We're running a little bit short on time here, so I've got so much great content. I'm just gonna have
Sorry about that.
No, it's great, man. Look, I don't want to keep you longer than the hour that we agreed on either. But it's oh God, it's so good. It's so good to have you on the show. I'm really happy that we got a chance to talk about the album because it's one thing that I do find has been missing a lot from the Citadel Cafe has been music. And I mean, I know that we all listen, but we just never seem to have anything new to talk about or to have someone that, you know, a musician and composer like yourself that's doing this kind of stuff on the show. It was a real big treat. So I'm super stoked that you were able to be here, man. And it's super cool that you can say, like, you have so much to say about your work. It's not like, you know, you're just like, yep, I did this and it's cool. Go listen. You know, like it's you know, it's really cool to, you know, artist to artist to sit down and talk about that kind of stuff and the processes and the collaboration with was it Thix?
Fix. Yeah, it's so funny when I was speaking to him because when he like writes it on his albums, it's like all capitalized, and I was like, is it THYX or is it?
No, it's an acronym or something. Yeah.
He goes, oh, it's Thix. It's Thix. I'm like, okay, all right. I didn't know.
Good to know. Good to know.
So yeah, if you guys check out his stuff, Thix on iTunes and Amazon and Spotify and RDO. His other band is called Mind in the Box, which is really good stuff. And yeah, he actually he has a Mind in the Box called Retro, which he redoes 8-bit theme songs from video games from the Commodore 64.
Oh wow!
So he goes way back.
Way back, yeah. God, I used to play those too.
Sounds cool.
I used to have like a VIC-20 where I had like a cartridge that I had to stick in the back of it.
Oh yeah.
Old computer games, man. Crazy stuff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we record live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on joelduggan.com/live. You can, of course, find the podcast on demand via iTunes and our website, thecitadelcafe.com. And the music for the show was composed by Kevin MacLeod. Email the show at thecitadelcafe@gmail.com, or, of course, hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, or Google Plus with just the name of the show. This Friday evening, check out The Gamers Inn on amove.tv at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. If you're a gamer, you can tune in to talk to or listen to Jocelyn and Ryan talk about what they've been into lately. They are going to be talking a little bit more about the Extra Life charity event that's coming up on November 2nd. You can find out more about that specifically at bit.ly/TGI Extra Life 2013. They are going to be raising money for some children's hospitals by doing a 25-hour gaming marathon, to which I will be running support. I got to keep Jocelyn fed and warm and awake long enough to help the kids out.
Coffee runs
and all that kind of stuff. And I will be playing with them. They're going to be doing some multiplayer stuff like dungeon runs, and it's all tied in. The Gamers Inn actually, and the Tadpool.
So I get to do a dungeon run with you guys?
I think so. Finally,
will you let me?
I think so. Yeah. Well, we're level 90 now, so we're in WoW. So we're hoping to do some more stuff like that. And this Friday, actually, after the show, myself, Ryan, Jocelyn, and Paul Swickard are all going to jump onto the live stream after Gamers Inn and play some Borderlands 2, which we've been playing and really enjoying because it is freaking hilarious. I've not played a game like that has made me laugh so much in a long time.
Wow.
So
did you just pick that up?
Yeah. I'm only like level 10 or something like that. We got it on a Steam sale earlier this summer, and we're just now kind of getting around to checking it out.
It's a great game.
It's fun. Yeah, I played the first one. I enjoyed the first one on Xbox. This one we're playing on PC, but it's been a good time so far. So tune in Friday night, and you can watch the four of us tear it up. Swearing at one another and trying to figure out what the hell to do, because I think I'm the only one that's played it before. Maybe Paul has. I'm not really sure. Yeah, it should be interesting to see how that rolls.
It's a great game. I finished the Borderlands 2 quite a while ago when it first came out.
It came out in like March or something. It was like a winter release, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah, it's good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Joel Duggan. You can find everything that I am up to on joelduggan.com, including my book, Star Cost Volume 1. You can also follow me on Twitter and Google Plus with just my name. Eric Mahler, where can people find you online?
They can follow me on Twitter at Snyder Mahler, and they can listen to the podcast. It's MrMomDaily.com. I'm still doing that every damn day, or weekday.
Nice.
And, yeah.
Cool. And Skyhawk, where can people find you online, and where can they find your album?
On Twitter, I am at Hakito, Hawkito. You can find my album Shattered on iTunes and Amazon.
You have been listening to the Citadel Cafe, where we are fast, easy, and cheap, but you can only pick two.
Eric, it's really eerie how much we have in common. You were talking about you played the drums for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I played the drums for like 10 years, starting in high school, and then I played in a whole bunch of rock bands, and then I made a whole bunch of computer music using a bunch of weird crap. But I didn't take it to where you took it, though. But that was really eerie listening to you describe your thing there, and I was like...
My history, and you're like, why didn't you say? It's like, I did the same thing.
I didn't want to... I was listening. I was enjoying it.
Yeah.
But no, it's very strange. And you're from Utah.
And I'm
and
from
your name's
Utah.
Eric.
And I'm Eric. I know.
What's going on?
What in the world is going on?
So why did you stop with the music?
I just got busy with other things. Well, like, sometimes I would go back to bands and play in other bands, and then, and I don't know. I haven't made music for a while. I still have music online, but I haven't made it for a while. That was partly why I wanted to ask, because I was curious. I've been feeling the itch to make music again. And
if you want, I'd highly recommend like Ableton, which is great. Or if you want like a package that has everything you need right in one thing, you don't have to worry about adding a whole bunch of stuff. Reason is the way to go.
I like Reason, but I really what I prefer is using samples. I have like 17 gigs of old WAV files, samples, and because all I would use was samples mainly. And just so I like something with like just a sequencer so I can drop samples into it and pull them around like Live 5. So I can pull things to the right beat. I did that back in the day, but it wasn't a proper copy, as it were. It wasn't a legal copy. So.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
The samples weren't cleared.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason why I stopped doing, because I have a bunch of songs on my website, but it's all just download for free, because if I tried to sell this, I imagine I'd get in trouble, because this is all just stuff I grabbed from wherever, and I didn't clear a thing.
I have to make sure that all my samples are all legit. And
have you ever played with whosampled.com?
I have not.
Oh my gosh, you're gonna love it. Okay, hang on. So what it does is it'll say Midnight in a Perfect World. That's a pretty well-known song.
And it'll tell you what samples he used?
Yeah, and it also has links to YouTube videos that let you hear the song originally sampled, so you can, go like, oh my God, there it is. And I don't know. I got stuck listening to just toying around on this for...
You should, if you're interested in the documentaries, you should watch Scratched. It's, really good documentary. Scratch, yeah, it's a documentary about DJs and where Scratch came from. Mm-hmm. It has a section on DJ Shadow where he's just in this record store basement.
The whole documentary is on YouTube.
Is it?
Yeah, I just Googled it and here it is.
Yeah, and it's there's a section with DJ Shadow where he's in this old record store basement where the owner doesn't let anybody go down there except for DJ Shadow, and it is just floor to ceiling records that he just goes through and just searches and try to find samples, and
that sounds awesome.
Amazing. I actually got the black and white print of him within the records that he was selling on his site.
I'm definitely gonna watch this.
Yes,
Nice.
it's very, very cool.